dishing it up.
We've just been talking about the cost of food, people eating out more than we have previously, certainly spending more on eating out or picking up fast food. And look, it is kind of an easy option, isn't it? Picking up a takeaway or going with the fast food. But there has been a real movement in recent years around getting back to basics and questioning, well, look, what exactly is in our food and where has it come from? One relatively new local business is focusing in on clean, wholesome foods. They're all about plant-based foods, no gluten, no trans fats, all about the good stuff with none of the nasties. They also have a focus on zero waste. Very interesting off the back of the ABC's War on Waste. Joel Deese is from Pickled and Pressed at the Junction. G'day, Joel.
Hello.
Tell me a bit about the philosophy behind Pickled and Pressed. What's it all about?
So we're trying to eliminate waste. We're wanting to showcase that a plant-based diet is tasty and actually good for you as well. It's quite enjoyable and wholesome. It's made the traditional way, made from scratch. There's no nasties added. We don't use refined sugar. We still have really tasty dishes, and they're naturally sweetened with things like dates and maple syrup. So quite nutritious for you and very enjoyable.
Do you cook? Do you have anything with meats on the menu, or are you very much just the plants?
Oh, all plants only,
okay.
all plant-based. Yep.
So there'll be people listening who go, well, okay, I can't fight with you on the fact that it's good for me, but I might take issue with whether or not it's something that appeals to me. You know, there are people who are quite set in the type of diet they have. What is there that's appealing around plant-based food for you? What is it that makes you want to tuck into a bowl of, say, vegan food?
It makes me feel good. I know that what I'm eating, my body loves, makes me feel good. And we just would like to invite everyone to come and try it. It's a safe space to come and try something new if you're not familiar or if you haven't tried the plant-based food before. It's we would like to invite you along to come and try it.
Where do you source your products from, your plant-based menu? Where does the element come from?
So we try to source locally. So there's the farmers market on Sunday, a few local businesses as well. There's Scoop Whole Foods, which is a good place to source from. The Healthful Pantry as well. So local businesses that also source their products locally as well. We go organic where possible, understanding that it's all seasonal and we source what we can locally.
How do you get the protein into a plant-based meal? There'll be people thinking, well, I just don't feel full or I don't feel satisfied. How do you work that in?
Yeah, so you need to enjoy the food and feel satisfied with what you're eating. So protein comes from plant-based sources as well. That's where all animals get their protein from as well. So it's quite easy to get enough protein. Things like legumes, pulses, so there's a variety of things. There's even a bit of protein in all plant-based foods. Yeah.
I guess people might feel that to make it at home, they can visit cafes. To make it at home, though, maybe takes a bit of a rewiring or a rethinking of the standard household menu.
Yeah, it is a little bit different to start with. A little bit like learning a new language. You start with one thing and you start to add another thing and start to expand your repertoire. And before you know it, you've got these amazing new dishes that you never thought you could do before. But it just starts with trying something new. Just start with one thing, start with something simple, and go from there. It's quite easy.
Joel, are you vegan? Do you consider yourself vegan?
I call myself plant-based. It's been a transition.
What's the difference?
Vegan is strictly no animal products at all, and so I've been on a journey towards that. I think that's ideal, but you don't go from eating meat to instantly becoming vegan. So it's part of a journey that I've been on. Many people have started on, and that's where Pickled and Pressed comes in as well. It's a safe space that you can come, try something new, and just enjoy a plant-based meal, and you just go from there, really.
Yeah. Have you eaten meat previously? Were you raised on a vegetarian diet?
Yeah, I raised on a traditional meat and 3-veg meal, meat for most meals, and I enjoyed it at the time. But after doing some research and understanding the health consequences, how your body processes the toxins as a result of that, the animals, what they go through as well, it's quite enjoyable to have plant-based food and knowing that it's good for you and it's good for the environment as well. It's a lot more sustainable.
That's often something that people become really conscious of and start to make their own decisions around teenage years. Was that kind of the time in your life where you started to make those decisions?
It was a little bit later in life, and it was quite a gradual process for me initially as well, to go vegetarian initially. That was a 2-year process, and then it's been a longer journey to go completely plant-based. But some people do it a lot more quickly. So we're all on our own journey, and yeah.
Yeah. So we have a recipe that we'll go through in a moment. You're going to talk us through pickling some vegetables, which I'm really excited to hear all about. But can you toss us a couple of general ideas, things that you maybe like to cook that people could maybe try? You know, any ideas of things that go well together that you could throw together as a part of a plant-based diet?
Yeah, so at the Pickled and Pressed, we've got a few classics. So we've got avocado bash, so smashed avocado on some house-made cedar toast. That one's a classic. There's your traditional things like pasta. Quite a number of options available.
Okay. Let's talk about pickling. Is it a big part of what you do there?
Pickled and Pressed, the name of it, that should kind of give it away.
The pressed refers to juices too.
It does, yeah.
So tell me a bit about pickling. You're going to share with us a recipe for mixed pickled vegetables. What do we need to know about this recipe? Is it a complicated one?
No, so pickling is actually quite easy. It's been around for such a long time, about 4,000 years. It's come from India originally, I believe. And just the concept of it is to extend the shelf life of food out of season. You can pickle just about anything. You can add so many different flavours. You'd use whole spices. So a few options that you could pickle, something like fennel, cabbage, onion, cucumber, radish. You can do them individually. You can mix them. Again, you can use a variety of different things to pickle.
I wouldn't know what you, and I'm going to sound so ignorant here, I wouldn't know what do you pickle stuff in. What is the pickling solution? To me, vinegar, but what else do you do?
Yeah, so it is quite simple. Just vinegar, a bit of water, pinch of salt, and that will preserve the food and also change the flavour. It can also improve the nutritional value of the food as well.
Improve it?
Yeah, so the bacteria can introduce B vitamins as well, so... Yeah.
So the basic process is you create that solution with the vinegar and some sugar and so on. Then you heat that through. Do you cook the vegetables in that solution?
So there are a number of ways of pickling. So you could heat some spices on a dry pan, add the solution, and then pour that over the veg and let that sit, and pop that in the fridge for about 48 hours. There's other ways where you start to ferment the food, and that would be more raw as well.
Yeah.
So there is quite a number of ways. So we just invite you to try different things and see what works for you.
We'll share the recipe that you've given us on our Facebook page, so that'll be up there soon for mixed pickled vegetables. It scares me a little bit though, pickling. And look, I know I'm a product of my generation because my grandmother would have had no worries at all about pickling things and keeping them. But I would think, is this really okay just to sit on my shelf for maybe weeks, months even? I'd be kind of nervous to open up the jar and eat it. I have so little confidence in my own ability to pickle something. Is it really safe?
It is. I think this is a generation that's lost touch with food and disconnect, and we need to get back in touch with our food, where it's come from. And this is a process that's been around for thousands of years. So if they were doing it a long time ago before refrigeration and all this modern technology that we use, I think it's safe enough for us. Yeah, definitely.
Now, Joel Deese is with me from Pickled and Pressed. Joel, tell me about your zero waste mission. This is interesting because here at the ABC, where you won't see an ABC staff member with a takeaway coffee cup at this moment. We've had the war on waste. It's really opened our eyes to the amount of waste that goes on in the world. And you've got a bit of a zero waste philosophy, haven't you? Yeah,
so we eliminate waste as much as possible. All our food scraps is collected and composted, where we use takeaway containers. It's convenient for some people, and if they return, they can be composted as well. We don't use plastic where possible. Everything we use is reusable, basically.
How do you not use plastic in an environment like that? You're storing foods, you're, providing takeaway and so on. Do you have a strategy for trying to avoid that?
Yeah, so it's taking that first step and thinking about where you're sourcing them from in the first place. It's just a bit of a thought process, a bit like starting a new recipe. It just takes a little bit of time to understand first, and then once you've got a process in place, then it's easy to go from there.
How do you find what would be the jargon, the customer interface? How do people find it coming to a shop that has that aim of zero waste, where perhaps you're not handing out plastic containers and plastic bags willy-nilly?
I think from the customer perspective, it's streamlined. You can come in, you can still grab a takeaway meal or sit-in meal, but we're just using compostable products, so it's better for the environment.
A compostable takeaway container?
Yeah.
What do they look like? Are they?
So they're either like a cardboard, or where plastic's required, it's a bioplastic, so it's plant-based.
Okay.
Source of plastic.
It's all about the plant-based stuff.
Yeah. So ideally, though, if you're coming in for a takeaway coffee, bring your own cup. We're more than happy to use that as well, because it's about eliminating waste in the first place. So if we can reduce the need for takeaway, then that's a better step as well. That's
what we're hearing more and more right throughout Newcastle and the Hunter now, is cafes. If they weren't doing it, last week, they now are. There were cafes that were really encouraging people to bring the cups and are now doing it more so with the war on waste, which is just a great outcome. Yeah.
Also with our juices, we have a return scheme with the glass bottles.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're getting one of our juices as takeaway, return them, and we do a return on some money for that on your next purchase as well. So bring those back with you. We sterilise them, reuse them. So just another initiative we're doing to eliminate waste as well.
You'll be able to answer my question, Joel. It's your business. What is a cold pressed juice, and how is it different from a regular juice?
So cold pressed juice is quite amazing. Regular juice is usually spun, so it spins around and that oxidises the juice, so that kind of loses part of the nutrients and enzymes, and also the friction, the heat spinning around also loses enzymes as well. So cold pressed, as it sounds, it's literally cold pressed. So it's chopped up and then it's in a machine and it's just pressed through a mesh, and so the juice comes out. There's been no heat around the juice as well, so that retains maximum enzymes, and that's part of the taste and the flavour as well. So you can certainly taste the difference with one of our cold pressed juices.
So the big machines that you see where they feed like a wood chipper, they're feeding it in. It's that spinning process that you think takes away from the final product.
That's part of it, yeah, because it oxidises juice.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming in and telling us all about what you do, eating in that plant-based way, and pickling. I'm looking forward to sharing that on our Facebook page. Great for winter too, pickling stuff and having it tucked away for future use. Puts me in mind of previous generations, and
it's quite good for your immunity as well. So
okay, another good reason.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joel, for coming in. It's been really nice to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. That's Joel Dees from Pickled and Pressed, and you're on 12:33.